And he saw a shadow, right?
I was just watching you hold that flower up. Remember when we couldn't find flour?
That is a terrible time.
One more time.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Doing okay. How about you?
I'm good. Are you guys freezing to death? Is it cold and snowy there?
It's like spring.
No, it's ridiculous.
Really? Well, just be glad you're not in New York, I guess.
I wish they'd send the snow this way. We need it.
I wish we had that snow. I miss the snow.
We had a ton of rain, and then it cleared up this afternoon. So now it's clear skies, but yeah, we needed the rain, so it's good.
Well, that big storm came, the one in the East Coast came from the West Coast, but it went just under us.
Oh.
We got a tiny smidgen of it.
Yeah, we just got literally a dusting. That's all we got.
We got at least 5 inches of rain. It was crazy.
That is it.
And then that in the last week and a half. So, but you know,
well, that's good though, because you need it.
We do. We're just a little worried about mudslides from the fires, but if it's not one thing, it's another. But anyway, that's what's happening here. And
well, shout out to the people in cold, snowy New England. We're thinking of you. That's why we're making some warm soup.
Yay!
Tonight we're going to do some sort of Franco-American comfort food.
Oh, yay.
And this is not a traditional French onion soup, but it's a sort of a simpler shortcut version that has all the good flavors. And by shortcut, it's not that short of a cut, but you're going to get all the good flavors, and it's not as heavy. So, and then we're going to make a great slaw, a cabbage-based slaw. I love making different slaws. I think people just think of either like picnic coleslaw or of an Asian coleslaw, but there's so many things you can do with cabbage. And it's, you know, I'm trying to pick foods that are grown in the winter so that we're getting the freshest possible, that are grown here in our hemisphere. So they didn't sit on a boat for, you know, weeks and weeks before they got here and have a huge carbon footprint on them. So yeah. all the things we're eating tonight are grown here in California and are shipped all over the country, but it's just grown in my backyard in the Salinas Valley. So it's not far from
Nice.
So we're going to stick with some parsley, cabbage, celery, onions, all good winter veggies. So this will be good.
And
I love onion soup.
This is an economical dinner too.
This is. So this is, you know, this is a vegetarian, although I am going to use chicken broth, but you could use veggie broth too if you want strictly vegetarian. And this could be a first course. You could add, you know, some chicken or pasta after. There is a little bread in this, so we do.
Oh, cool. Oh, you mean soup? Yeah.
This is pretty hearty. I think actually this and the slaw is kind of all you need for a meal. But you could, you know, if you're doing something a little fancier or whatever, you could always just do this as a first course and maybe have a little smaller bowl. The thing about the soup is that you do need an oven-proof bowl. So these are these cute little bowls, you know, traditional, the brown ceramic with a little handle. If you don't have bowls, you can bake it like in a casserole dish and make it that way, and then just sort of scoop it and then ladle some of the soup in. It doesn't look as pretty, but that doesn't matter if it's just your family and, you know, don't care. So don't.
Yeah, no one's having company. So right now it is just your family.
No one cares. No one cares.
So if you want to do it with a in a casserole dish, you can, and then just put it, like I said, into individual bowls once they're out. But the way you know it's oven safe is that it will usually tell you on the bottom. So these, a lot are microwave safe, and it'll say dishwasher safe, but it doesn't say oven. So it has to say oven. Otherwise, because this is going in at 350, it'll crack the ceramic if it's not good for that. And then you'll make a mess, and then you'll be cursing my.
And then you'll be unhappy, and nobody wants that.
Oh, why'd you do that?
And you'll ruin the soup.
You ruined that. You ruined it. Okay.
All that work.
So the most work is the onion part. So I actually I did this before because this is 45 minutes, folks. So this is a dinner. I know it's COVID. You're at home. You got time. So trust me, I cried like a river. I just ran and wiped all the mascara off and put some back on.
Why? Because you cut those by hand?
Because the onions, yes.
Okay.
So
I mean, you can do them in the Cuisinart if you have that attachment.
You could, but
just saying.
If you're super smart, you could, but you know, I'm
food smart.
So I cut them in half. So I didn't save an onion because, quite frankly, I don't want to cut another onion. But I cut 7 because I had 2 small ones because you want the large ones. So it's about 6 or 7, 6 large, and then you sort of figure out something close to that if yours are smaller. And then I cut them in half, and then I like to slice them on the half moon. So you make little half moons thin. Those really cook down the best. So now we've got these beautiful caramelized onions. They've been cooking.
What did you cook it in? Butter or olive oil?
It was 4 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons olive oil. I also added salt. Actually added one of my salts, my holiday blend salt. But you can just add regular salt as well, because the salt really does help break it down faster. And this cooked at a medium-low heat for 45 minutes. When I started, it was this high in onions. It was just full of onions. And then they reduced down to just about the last quarter inch of the pan. So this is the best flavor. I mean, if you ever, whenever someone's cooking onions in the kitchen, that's one of my most favorite flavors in the world. So when it's done like this, it gives it such a nice, rich texture for when your broth goes in. And that's the sort of flavor that you're going to want to capture in French onion soup. So since I've already done this hard part, we're going to just go ahead and do some assembly just so you can see how to do it. Okay. So let's preheat the oven to 350.
How many bowls is this going to make?
This is going to do 6. 6 of this size.
Okay.
If you have some smaller ramekins or something, you could stretch this to 8 or 9. And then if you want to do them, if you do it in the larger casserole, again, you can divvy it up. If you have small ramekins, like I said, you could really stretch it. But I like this size. This sort of feels like a good onion soup size. So, but it's up to you what you have. So we are going to next add our chicken stock to our beautiful caramelized onions.
Okay. Do you always use chicken? Because I often use beef broth with an onion soup.
You could definitely use beef broth. In fact, it's probably more
traditional
to use the beef broth.
Yeah.
But,
I was gonna say
we're gonna lighter.
I used now the thing was when I've always made it, I've always used like a Madeira or some kind of sherry traditionally in the soup, which is why I think it's a beef broth, because that holds that flavor better.
Yeah, and honestly, you could also do a little, if you're going the red, if you're going the beef, you could also do Madeira and then a little Worcestershire sauce, I would actually do.
Yep.
But we're not doing the heavier cheese. We're going to do a fontina and a little Parmesan. So this
nice.
In general, it's just that's why I called it the Franco-American, because this is sort of Americana.
Well, let's talk about the traditional for 1 second so that people can know the comparison if they don't. Normally you go to a restaurant, you order French onion soup, and it's this dark brown color because it is beef based and red wine probably based, and it's a rich, wholesome, very, very strong soup that basically has toasted bread on top, onions in it, and then like Gruyere or Emmentaler or whatever kind of Swiss cheesy, and it's bubbling over and like seals the bowl. That's what I remember.
Yeah, which is exactly right.
And when I order it in a restaurant, if it doesn't come to me crispy, cheesy, brown, bubbly, I'm angry.
He sends it back.
I don't like it when it doesn't come.
So I just added 5 cups of the chicken stock to our reduced onions, and this is going to cook with the cover on for 20 minutes. Okay.
Okay. So someone's asking, what size do you think your bowl is? Is it like 12 ounces? Got any idea?
This probably holds, let's see, this jar is 8 ounces. It probably holds one of these and some change, so probably 10 ounces maybe.
Okay, thanks.
Let's see. So we're gonna let that cook. And while that's cooking, we're gonna make the slaw. And then when this is done, we'll assemble the bowls. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut. I have some really nice rustic bread that I've that's in slices. And we're gonna cube this, put this in the bowl, then we're gonna put the soup on top of it, put the cheese on top of that, and put it in the oven.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with that. So the bread is, I did buy this bread today, but stale bread is better. So I went ahead and put this on a baking sheet just for about 10 minutes, just to kind of dry it out, because you don't want it rock hard, but you want it sort of stale feeling, not toasted, but kind of dried out. It'll absorb the soup more like a sponge, and it won't get totally soggy. You'll still get some of the bite from the bread. Okay.
I was going to say, French people always come up with these ideas of what to do with the stale baguette.
The leftovers. Okay. While that's cooking, we're gonna make the slaw. So this is a take on a just a regular slaw, but we're gonna add some white wine vinegar and a little bit of celery with the celery leaves and our cabbage. So this we're just gonna cut. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stalks of celery here. So this is gonna give some nice crunch. And make sure if you're able to get the leaves, you put the leaves into it, because I've said that many times. That's where all the good flavor is. I'm gonna toss these in there.
They are bitter, though.
I don't think so.
Really? Sometimes I think they're bitter, but you have to tell.
They can be. I think they can be. It depends on. I think sometimes celery can be bitter. If it's, I don't know. I've had really bitter celery often. It's weird. Like, I don't know what makes it that way.
Yeah, it's not always that way. I think you have to taste it.
Yeah.
People say that if things start to flower, like go to seed, they can get bitter. So it could
maybe that's what gives it. Sometimes I've had really bitter celery, and it's just
maybe we're getting old celery in Santa Fe. Who knows?
Yeah. What?
What's happening?
So this is, we're going to cut the cabbage. What I like to do is I don't know if you saw, but I sliced it and now it's in 3 parts, right? So you take 1 part, and again, I just like to slice it in thin. This is also something you can do in the Cuisinart. But I find in the Cuisinart, it does it too. Let's double check to make sure that's going on. I find in the Cuisinart, it gets too slaw. I like slaw where you still got a decent sized piece. Okay, so we're gonna just see how it kind of shreds like that.
That's beautiful.
Can you see?
I don't grow celery. Do you grow celery, Holly?
I don't. I have.
I tried to grow it in a pot this summer with an end, and it started to work.
Well, the top comes out. It won't grow a stalk that way, but those leaves are usable if you're adding it to flavor something like a broth or like adding it to a salad. You can use
it needs a little more room than a pot. So if you're able to put it in the ground or in a bigger bed, that's good. Actually, this is probably all we need here. Okay, so we're not going to use. This was a huge head of cabbage, so we're going to sew it. See, head of cabbage.
That's big head.
Cabbage. You got a nice cabbage on you.
Thanks. All right, so we're gonna make the dressing for the sauce or whatever you want to call it for the salad for the slaw. And what's important too with this is you want it to stand. Let it set it with the sauce on it. I actually like to leave it room temp. We are going to put in a little mayonnaise, so anything over half an hour, throw it in the fridge. But it really does help to break the cabbage down and just make it a little softer and a little sweeter, actually, I think. Okay, so what's in this is a half a cup of white wine vinegar.
Is that your Christmas knife? Someone's asking.
Of course.
Still using it every day.
Love it. Okay, so that's a half a cup. Did I say half? I said a quarter. See, I even
You said a half, but you meant a quarter. Uh-oh.
Ish.
say.
It must be just genetic. I don't know, people. It's genetic. I have no explanation for what's
Ish.
happening right now. With
It's a quarter. Okay, there's a quarter. You're killing me with that. Okay. We're going to do a tablespoon of mayo, which I forgot to grab. Hold on.
Well, while she's out of frame, I am lusting after her Dutch oven. That would make a great boule right there. That would make a great crusty bread.
It's good stuff.
Beautiful.
Okay, so we're going to do a tablespoon of mayonnaise. This is just going to give it a little richness, so it makes you think of that traditional coleslaw, but the flavor profile is going to be better. Okay, a pinch of salt. I'm sorry, but that is a real measurement, and a pinch of black pepper. Salt's over here. Hold on.
Pinch, pinch.
We're making a list, just so you know.
Checking it twice.
For the cookbook somewhere to show all of our expressions for measurements.
The Croatian measurement.
It will be done.
We're going to do a tablespoon of olive oil. Go on it. Okay. And then we're going to do a little bit of lemon zest. Again, citrus is in
Right.
So, not all winter things are kale and cabbage. Orange and lime and lemons are all in season now. So now's a great time to buy them.
Oh, you get them in California right now, huh?
Yeah, well, and Florida, they're growing them, and Arizona. There's quite a few states, southern states that grow them, so they don't travel too far to get to you. Actually, southern New Mexico may have a little citrus even.
I wonder.
I don't know.
Okay, we're also going to do a tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm going to get our handy dandy squeezy here.
Squeezy!
Squeezer alert! Squeezy alert!
I feel like we should have one of those things that go across the screen. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Sam.
And then we're going to do a tiny bit of parsley, which will equal a tablespoon chopped.
Ooh.
How's that?
Did you just do that? We have special effects.
It's the squeezy alert.
Oh,
Debrianna, you held out for a year on the special effects.
No, they just added them.
Really?
It's a new thing. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Okay. So we're going to put the parsley in there too. Now, this is one of my favorite shortcut, easy things to do, is to put all your ingredients, make your own salad dressing, is just put it in a little jar. And then
A mason jar.
weird, I would have one.
So odd.
And just give it a good shake, like your bar.
Pretend you're making a cocktail on Friday.
Exactly. It's 5:49. It's way past cocktail hour here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna give it a good shake, and that's gonna emulsify all of the mayo with the oil and vinegar. Okay. Et voila. Smells good.
Okay.
So we're just gonna then pour this on the cabbage, okay? And then we'll take our tongs. We're just gonna gently toss it so it coats. You really want to take the time to make sure that everything's coated, because it will make a difference.
I love coleslaw.
I know. I made this.
I love cabbage. I love cabbage.
We have a new vendor at our farmer's market. I think I mentioned it has Pakistani food. So we have all these chutneys and sauces and all this stuff. So I bought some of the naan bread from them, and I put some cabbage on the naan, and then put their eggplant on top. God, it was so good. Okay. And again, this is a great winter vegetable. People think of it more in the summer, but it's grown now, so it's good to eat now. And
well, because we tend to eat coleslaw in the summer, but it's a good winter thing.
Well, and the three of us are former ulcer sufferers, so there's that.
Oh, the cabbage juice trick.
no stress.
Just keep eating the cabbage. You'll be fine.
There's no overachieving here.
No. Okay, we're gonna try it.
And then you taste it from
Yeah.
fall.
Good?
It's good.
It's
All right.
good.
It's good. So we're gonna take this and remember, set it aside. It's okay. Room temp for about 20 minutes. Okay. So that's done. Let's clear some space here since I've made an absolute mess.
Oh, look. Just push it out of the way.
No, it's gone.
If I did that, it would fall off.
It's
It's my Jedi mind trick. Yeah, Bella's here. She just got back from lacrosse. Tuesday's lacrosse day. Come say hi, B.
Hi, Belle.
Hey, everybody, this is Bella. She's going to be picking the winners
Oh yeah, for the
from
quiz.
the raffle in a week from today. There she
That's
is.
right. Woo!
She plays.
And speaking of Cuisinart, there will be a Cuisinart.
Yeah, I know. We did. Well, we're going to send out a big announcement about that tomorrow, so we'll get that done.
Yahoo!
Debriana and I did a video today
No,
that will be debuting probably tomorrow. And, oh boy. It's kind of like grandma's TikTok, but it's going to be funny. It's hilarious.
okay.
We didn't really do a TikTok, but it's TikTok. What?
None of us knew what it was, really.
It's sort of kind of TikTok.
Is there an age limit for that? Have you I'm just saying. I'm asking for a friend. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna take our bread and we're gonna we want it sort of in cubes. So best to use for cutting bread, everyone, serrated knife. Serrated knife is the one with
Different knife, not the Christmas knife.
yeah, your ones with the bumps on it. That's like a saw. Just don't saw your fingers off. Okay. So we're gonna take
Cutting tomatoes. Serrated knives are the best for cutting tomatoes too.
they are.
Mhm.
Thing that's slippery, I like to say, you know. Okay, so bread's not slippery, but you need a little saw to get through so you don't squish it and mush it. So we've got this was one of those pieces. So we're gonna put that in the bowl, okay, and we're gonna repeat. And I'm gonna put these on a cookie sheet, just because if they bubble over, because we're gonna be putting some of the cheese or whatever, and it's it
Yeah.
won't get in the bottom of my oven. Okay, so let's continue to do that.
Yum, yum, yum.
That's gonna be so good.
I'm just looking at this. I'm like, oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. Who doesn't like chunks of bread?
I mean,
And onion and cheese.
Yes.
Pretty good.
yeah. I mean, the French, you know, they know what they're doing.
And I also, since we're talking about stuff, I also do not like when the onions are not cooked down and they serve you the soup and the onions still have a little crunch. No.
They have to be almost melted.
They have to be mushy.
Yeah.
They're melted. Yeah.
So I literally wrote down in my recipe, I said onions must be mushy, and it's a
Mushy, melty, squeezy, squishy. Yes.
so as you can see, this is let me hold this because this is hot. We've got a nice sort of mushy, and that's when you cook them for that long, they do get. There's just no way
They get squishy. Well, that's cheating when you don't cook it that long because then they're not cooked.
this definitely takes a little patience. But I mean, and if you can't and you're in a bind, it's blasphemous to say such things, but you could use an instant, onion flavoring. But
Well, the other thing is, I think you could actually put it in a pressure cooker or an instant pot.
right, then you don't have to stir it as frequently. I do the dishes. I'd come and stir it. I clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
So one of the things I was going to mention about this dish is that it does take longer, but it's all about timing. So I like to tell people, think about what you're making. So while this was cooking, we made the coleslaw. It has to wait for 15 minutes, which gives us plenty of time to finish the soup. So try to think of things that you could be doing, simultaneously, or when things are waiting, or
Give yourself a manicure.
you can.
So good.
I wouldn't recommend that for cooking. Okay.
Also, though, why would you want to rush onion soup? The way I feel about it is, if you're gonna rush it and not cook the onions all the way, just have it the next night and make something else.
Yeah.
Like, it's not worth it.
It is something that, you need to know you're going to do it the day before. I would. So that, pick it on a night. Like tonight, Bella just got home from lacrosse. Jack's got soccer. So I know we're all going to be getting together in about an hour and a half. So everything will be ready and good for them to go. It's the kind of thing that you can make on a Sunday afternoon too. So before we put the soup in, I am going to check it for salt and make sure it's salty enough.
Okay.
Because the last salt I did, the chicken broth actually it wasn't a low sodium. Oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
I'm really interested in this because I've never done it with chicken broth.
It's
Me either. I'm the same thing. I'm very interested.
Really interesting.
This recipe was from it's a version that I have amended, but it's from an old Williams-Sonoma cookbook from like the early 90s, like when Williams-Sonoma was more popular.
Cool. I never have done it with chicken stock.
Yeah, so this is why it's the sort of California and American version. And we're using parsley and thyme in it. So the thyme already went in when it was cooking with onions. So the onions now are nice and sweet, not sugary sweet, but sweet, like carrots, that kind of sweet. The broth is cooked, has absorbed a lot of it, but it's still liquidy enough, so we're going to put it in, and the bread will absorb it. So we are going to ladle. So I don't think it needs any more salt. Actually, I think it's just right. I am going to put one little round of black pepper.
A round of pepper.
A round
and round we go.
How about the shape?
Nobody knows.
A round of pepper.
Did you not see last night's episode about the Greeks? Come on. It's done when it's done. That's when it's done.
That's right.
It's so funny, those recipes of those women's groups throughout the years and their clubs and their whatever. And it's like, I don't need to tell you the details. If you don't know, you don't have the right to pick up this cookbook. Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So we put 2 ladles, and make sure you get, broth and, there's so much onion in here, you can't, but just try to get, not just all onion, not just all broth. Okay. So 2 generous labels. This one needs a little more broth. Okay.
Yeah, you got to leave a little room at the top for the cheese.
It's illegal if you don't. You get a citation.
It's too sad.
You get a French citation.
Citation.
That's right. You definitely get a citation from me. I don't like it.
So we're gonna add a little parsley right now on the top.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Just to give it a little. We're gonna get another good digestive.
What kind of measurement is around? It's a Hollie. It's a Hollieism.
It's a pin. It's a sprinkle. How about a sprinkle? Is that a good measurement? Okay.
A sprinkle.
Let me make sure I'm doing everything correctly. Okay, now for the best part, the cheese.
Yay!
This is Fontina, which is a nice creamy cheese. I've already shredded it. If you don't have Fontina is usually pretty easy to find, but if your grocery store doesn't have it, you can use Havarti with this, or you could use Swiss cheese.
Like an Emmentaler or something like that.
It's
or Gruyere. Gruyere is traditional, I think.
Gruyere and the Emmentaler are the traditional, but I kind of like this. Makes it just sort of creamy and good.
Well, it's nice that you're mixing it up. And let's talk about the other alternative. Like usually when I make it, I don't cube my bread. I leave but it's not covering. It's just smaller than the bowl and
like floating in the top. Yeah.
But you can do whatever you want. There's options.
It depends on your bowl, really, too. So you can kind of let that dictate what works. This one's a little deeper, so I thought, it would be better. And because they're a little toasted and dry, and there's such a thick crust on those, you're going to get a nice spoonful.
That's going to be good.
Eat it, so it'll be good. Okay, so we've done the bread, the onions, the cheese, the parsley.
And so how much cheese do you think? Is this eyeball it?
So I graded in the recipe. It will tell you to grade. It will tell you to grade how much? Half a cup of Fontina. And we're also, just to add a little, again, another little kick that's totally non-traditional.
Wait a minute, a half a cup per bowl?
No. A half a cup for all of them. So I just did enough. I had shredded a half a cup. Just enough to just cover the top. So it's not a lot. I mean, as you can see, it's already practically melting here. So I also like to do a little sprinkle of Parmesan cheese. This is literally like a teaspoon per one, just a tiny little sprinkle here. Just gonna get a little salty, and
it'll give it a little crunch too.
It'll get nice and brown when it gets in the oven. Okay, so voila, as you can see.
Voila!
You see it?
That looks great.
So these are going to go in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. The broth was already hot. This is really just about getting the bread to absorb the liquid and melting and browning the cheese. And then when they come out, they'll be molten hot. So let them cool a little bit before you eat them. And then serve them with a side of the slaw.
Gorgeous.
What a great dinner. Bravo.
So the slaw is already,
I want to eat that slaw.
It's so good. The cabbage is already softened a little bit. And again, we only use a tablespoon of mayonnaise in this whole bowl. So it gives it a little bit of richness, but it's not goopy. This is not mayonnaise at all. And the red wine vinegar has a nice tartness, which is going to cut all of that cheese. Well, not cheese and bread and onion. So they'll pair well together. So you can enjoy it and digest it with your cabbage.
You're just baking it at 350. You're not doing any broil. No broil.
You're not gonna. You don't need to. It'll start to brown. I'll take a picture of it when it's done.
Okay.
So you can see it. And I also have a photo of how large the before and after with the onions.
Oh, cool.
Like here to like there. It's pretty incredible. But it's good and it's worth it.
That's great. Thank you, Hollie.
Thank you.
We have a couple of announcements. We just want to tell everybody before we sign off.
All right, I'm going to put this in while you're talking.
One is the recipe contest. If you want to be in the cookbook, we are giving you this opportunity. 10 lucky Corona Kitchen members will be selected. Don't you want to be one of them?
So, people out there that I sent, you remember people I sent you thing, you better submit your recipes because I know they're delicious.
And the deadline is February 9th for the recipe contest because we have to have time to get you into the manuscript of the book for the publisher. So send in your recipes if you want to do it. And then the other thing is
the raffle. Woo!
So
we are having a raffle for the final $5,000 we need to raise. So we have some prizes coming up.
And we're so lucky to have wonderful people to sponsor these gifts for the raffle. Thank you, Hollie's Homegrown. Cuisinart.
There's a Cuisinart.
Hollie's Homegrown. Woo! That's the grand prize. Then we have David Furlano's gorgeous earrings. I saw them in front of my face today at Debriana's house. They're beautiful. Thank you, David. And then we have Penina Meisels, who's the food photographer for us, as well as Julia Child and Jacques Pepin and Alice Waters.
Sonoma.
She's donating a cookbook. She'll sign it.
Awesome. That's great.
And I have Meatball Chronicles swag. Woo! This is
one woman show. She had a lot of tchotchkes left over because she didn't get to go to London.
Because I didn't get to go to London and I didn't get to go to New Orleans, but I have aprons. These are all embroidered. and a coffee mug.
They're so cute. I saw them today again in person. So,
And it comes with my meatball recipe.
do you
And
understand
my promo
the
menu.
secret meatball recipe is not in the cookbook because it's so secret, but you would get it if you do the raffle.
Okay, so the people who are already given will be in the raffle. If you give over 100, you'll be in the raffle tour. And then Bella will draw the winner next week.
Yay!
It's ready. She's warming her hands up. She's ready. She's ready.
It's going to be a really exciting show next Tuesday.
I feel like we should get dressed up, like the Oscars. Should we get dressed up?
Yes,
Okay.
we'll get dressed up.
I'll wear my hair up. Just cool.
Okay. Oh, cool. That's change. I'll wear a ponytail.
I'll put on some diamond earrings and
I haven't had a haircut in a year. But there you go.
We'll get dressed from the waist up.
Exactly. I will be in jeans and a black tie. Like
sequin top and pajamas. Sequin top and pajamas. That's what I'm going to do.
like a party mullet, like party on the top.
It's a top party. Okay, don't forget to check out Hollie's homegrown.com for her salts and vinegars and oils. And we will see you guys tomorrow.
Yay. Thank you. Bon appetit.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Hollie, for a fabulous dinner. I did it.
That looks so good.
I will have to try it.
I don't know why it's so loud.
You got to cook the onion.
There's no rhyme or
We
reason
don't have
to
a
my
sound department or editor. We have nothing. We got nothing.
Can you hear Rufo barking? Jesus.
Everybody wear your mask. Stay safe.
Be safe.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Go fund me.